League One is getting busy, and we've got some midweek games coming your way this week. Derby County play after missing out at the weekend due to Wycombe being in Bristol Street Motors action. Peterborough also returned to action after the Bristol Street Motors Trophy final. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this week's fixtures play out. There's some very important games in the realms of playoff possibilities and even automatic promotion contention. Shall we take a look now at the league table and let's see what could happen after this round of fixtures? So, as you can see by the league table here, Derby County are in a bit of a situation. They have to pick up a minimum a point against Wycombe Wanderers to get themselves into a 2-point gap to Bolton Wanderers. 3 points would obviously put them 4 points clear. Peterborough have the opportunity to basically secure their playoff place with a win at Port Vale. That would put them on 77 from 41 games, obviously with a game in hand on those teams above. It's going to be massively important to see how they get on. Obviously, some of these teams don't play midweek, like Bolton don't play, Pompey don't play. They play each other at the weekend. We're going to take a look at some of the key fixtures heading into this game, and let's have a look at what you can expect. If you haven't already and you are enjoying this style of content on my channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button down below or in this top corner to stay tuned for all the latest League One and Derby County content. If you are enjoying these style of videos, let me know how I can make them better down in the comments as well, and I'll let you now get back to the video. So I've picked up 5 fixtures from this midweek League One action, and we're starting off with Blackpool at home to Fleetwood Town. Blackpool still have an outside chance at that playoff place that Oxford United currently hold. Are they going to be able to pick up a result at Bloomfield Road? Let's take a look into this fixture then. Obviously, Blackpool come away 6 wins to 2 against Fleetwood with 5 draws. Obviously, they haven't really played each other a vast amount. Obviously, last season they didn't play at all because Blackpool were in the Championship. But a 3-3 draw back in November will give Fleetwood a bit of hope they can get something out of this game. And then obviously the games go back to 2021 and 2020. Obviously, they're not going to be representative of the current team, the current structure at either team. Now, if we look into the form of both sides, you can see both sides have lost 2. Fleetwood have drew 3. Blackpool picking up a draw to Wycombe Wanderers and a couple of wins in there as well. Both sides will be hoping to get a result from this game. Obviously, if you look on the right-hand side, Blackpool just 6 points away from Oxford United, and a win would put some real pressure onto Lincoln City, onto Oxford United, and that is something which they'll obviously be hoping to do with this game. Obviously, Fleetwood Town down in that relegation zone, sitting on 34 points after 23 games, if you see on the right-hand side. And if Fleetwood can get something out of this game, they may feel like they are back in this relegation battle. For me, I think they're probably resided to relegation at this point. There's a vlogger I follow. I think his name's Nappers. I think it's Cod Vlogs on YouTube. He's very big in the space, and 34 points from 41 games. It's not what Fleetwood would have wanted. Obviously, their previous game was a 4-0 defeat to Oxford United. That was last week. And Fleetwood fans weren't necessarily happy with the performance, a bit abject. So hopefully they can turn around into this Blackpool game and really hit some form, maybe heading into their final 5 games as they look to close out the season. But can that be expected of a team that is battling relegation against a side that they've only beat twice in, 13, 14 games? Like, it's a lot to ask of this Fleetwood side. They do have some fairly okay players in their lineup, and with a bit of hard work and determination, I think they probably could get a point at Bloomfield Road. But let's not dwell on it too much. Fleetwood know that they need to get a result. Blackpool know they need to get a result. It's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Both teams with stuff to play for. So shall we get into the next fixture and let's see how that one could impact the league table. So the next fixture is Leyton Orient versus Exeter City. Now, you will have seen on the league table, Leyton Orient, in my opinion, are probably just a little bit out of the playoff contention. Now, they play at home to Exeter on Tuesday night, the 9th of April. They've beat them 4 times in their history, head-to-heads, obviously Exeter winning 8 and drawing 2. If you go back to September, the start of the season, Leyton Orient picked up a 2-1 victory in that one. And then if you go back to February 2022, Exeter won 1-0 in that game. Leyton Orient won the game earlier that season. Like, a lot of their games have been played in League 2, as you can see by the head-to-head here. 4 of the 5 that are being shown are League 2 fixtures. Both of these sides recently promoted. Exeter City have been in League 1 for 2 years. Leyton Orient recently up in the previous League 2 campaign. Now, if we look on the right-hand side before we get on to the recent form, which you can see there yourselves, excellent for Exeter. Leyton Orient will probably have wanted to do a bit better, but Leyton Orient are winning with a shout. They're 9 points behind Oxford. They've probably got to win every single one of their games to have an opportunity. And they started off well at the weekend, beating Cheltenham Town 3-1. But are they going to be able to win their final 4 games and go on a 5-game winning run? Now, Exeter City in 12th. Like, realistically, they could overtake Leyton Orient by the end of the season. If you look at both sides' recent form, 4 wins and a draw for Exeter City, 2 wins, a draw and 2 losses for Leyton Orient. Obviously that win at Cheltenham Town put them back on track, but the 2 defeats to Lincoln City and Peterborough really, like, after a good win at Stevenage, it really sort of put them on the back foot for this playoff chase. Obviously I hope they can get a result at Exeter and sort of get themselves back into the battle, but obviously they'll have an extra game played and those other sides will feel confident that they can do what is necessary to get themselves above Leyton Orient. Obviously Leyton Orient have some ex-Derby County players in there. Exeter City have some ex-trialists from Derby in their side too. So I'm really intrigued to see how this game goes on Tuesday night. Could have massive implications on the league table. Obviously, Leyton Orient putting themselves right in that playoff contention, but they'll still be a bit far away for me. I've ruled them out in my head, but obviously, mathematically, it is still possible. Shall we now get on to the next game? So this is a big one. Stevenage have really struggled in recent weeks and haven't really hit any sort of form. And when you get to this back end of the season, if you want to be challenging for the playoffs, you've got to hit some form somewhere, and they just haven't. Barnsley lost at the weekend to Charlton Athletic, so they aren't in the greatest of form either. But this game comes at a perfect time for both sides. A win for Barnsley probably seals them into the playoffs. A win for Stevenage gets them back into the fight. Obviously, the previous game back in December was a 2-1 win for Barnsley at Barnsley, but this time they're at Stevenage, as you could expect. And if we look at the recent form of both sides, it's not great, really, for either side, but Stevenage, it's really, really poor. Not winning far in their previous 5, only picked up 3 points in that period, with a draw to no one else other than Carlisle United, who have been relegated back to League 2. Charlton Athletic getting the better of Barnsley. Cambridge United got the better of Barnsley as well recently. Now, a couple of wins in there for Barnsley versus Burton Albion and Carlisle, but the draws to Cheltenham, the loss to Cambridge and the loss to Charlton really has put sort of a back foot in their game. A lot of Barnsley fans not really happy with the management structure at the moment. Not really sure why, because they are in 5th place. They still have the opportunity to go up, but for some reason they're not quite happy. And if we look at the league table, obviously Barnsley on 74. They could get to 77 from 42, which would put them 9 points clear of Lincoln City. They're in 7th place, as you can see on the right-hand side. And Stevenage could put themselves 1 point behind Lincoln, obviously with an extra game played. So it's going to be very interesting to see what happens in this set of fixtures. It's obviously massively important to the league table. It could have real implications on the playoffs as Stevenage could apply the pressure. Barnsley could sort of make it sort of a one-place thing, which realistically I think it's only been one place for quite a while now, but let's see what happens. Obviously, we've got 2 more fixtures to look at, so let's get into the next one. It'll be Peterborough's game. Peterborough do play at Wembley. Now, I'm recording this before that game has happened. I will have a review of that game out on the channel after the game, so if you haven't seen that already, go and take a look at that. Peterborough United, they head to Port Vale after the Wembley game. Now, I think what happens at Wembley could massively impact this game. I think Peterborough are pretty much sealed in the playoffs anyway, so it's a little bit of a dead rubber for Peterborough, but for Port Vale, battling against staying out of relegation. But you only have to look at the head-to-head, and it doesn't really look good for Port Vale. 6 wins to 2 to Peterborough. 3 draws in that time as well. Obviously, you go back to October, a 1-0 win for Port Vale. 2-0 last year, 3-0. Like, Port Vale haven't picked up a point since 2016 against this Peterborough United side, which obviously disappointing for them. But it's massive in terms of the league table. 3 points for Peterborough, in my opinion, seals them in the playoffs. 3 points for Port Vale probably gets them out of the relegation zone. Well, gets them safe from the relegation zone, if you know what I mean. But as you can see, Peterborough have won 3, lost 2 of their previous 5. Port Vale won 2, drew 1, and lost 2 of their 5. The defeat to Carlisle, a bit of a strange game for Peterborough. The defeats Pompey expected, but wins at Burton Albion, Stevenage and Leyton Orient, all massively important results for the league table. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. Shall we get into the last fixture that we're previewing this week? It's going to be Derby County's game against Wycombe at Adams Park on Wednesday. So Derby County are probably feeling the pressure now as they head to Adams Park on Wednesday. BBC Radio Derby going into more form on Monday morning. I'm not really sure how I feel about that. I think I'm posting this Monday evening, so I'm not really sure how to feel about that. I really think we should just let the players and coaching staff get on with it. We don't need prying eyes, in my opinion. Just let them do what they need to do. Let them get their result. Obviously, Derby and Wycombe have a bit of a turbulent past, and those of you that know that Wycombe Wanderers tried to kick Derby while they was down. The administration season, Wycombe Wanderers put in a claim for some money. Earnings lost, whatever you want to claim as Wycombe fans. But I don't know if they ended up getting anything. But it was very disappointing at the time. But obviously this game is massive for Derby County. Derby haven't beat Wycombe since 2022 in September. That was under Liam Rossinho, if I remember rightly. And obviously it was 2-1 wins for Derby County if you go back to the February as well. So it's sort of, it's a difficult game to read, this one, because Wycombe are one of those sides that are very physical. They always seem to get the better of Derby, and that 3-2 defeat last season really put a spanner in the works for Derby County's promotion campaign last year. And obviously that 1-1 draw, Derby should have been out of sight in that game, but a late goal from Wycombe Wanderers really, I think it was a penalty if I remember rightly. I could be wrong. I'm actually going to go and check. Yeah, it was a late Luke Lehigh penalty after Barkhazen put Derby in front after 83 minutes. The Lehigh penalty was like 90+8 or something like that. So hopefully Derby can get the better in this game. Hopefully Joe Ward doesn't have his penalty-giving boots on. But as you can see, both sides come in very similar form. Now, Wycombe Wanderers come in off the back of a Wembley game, which, as I'm recording this, hasn't happened yet. It's happening tomorrow, and I think that will impact this game. Wycombe have nothing to play for at this point, so it's going to be interesting to see how they handle going into this game. If they win, they're going to, in my opinion, they'll be on the beach. If they lose, they're going to want to put it right. But 3 wins, a loss and a draw for both sides. Wycombe Wanderers losing 3-1 to Portsmouth, Derby losing 1-0 to Northampton, and a draw at Pompey for Derby. It's going to be interesting to see how this game goes. I'm going to have a full match preview out of this on the channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button to stay tuned to all of my latest content. But that is it for this week's League One preview. If I haven't already posted my Derby County match preview, make sure you check out the channel over the next few days. It will be out before the game. Hit the subscribe button. Let me know your thoughts about these fixtures this week. Do you think Derby are going to be able to pick up 3 points at Wycombe? Do you think Peterborough are picking up their 3 points? What do you think is going to go on in the other games? I think there's a lot going on in the league right now, especially after Carlisle's relegation. Got some teams securing their places in the playoffs, automatic promotion. There's a lot going on. I just want to hear your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and I'll catch you in the next video. Make sure to go and find me on TikTok, pictured here, and Twitter, pictured here. These are the places where I'll keep you all up to date with all my upcoming videos and my thoughts and feelings around the Formula 1 and football weekend.